welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. So I'm playing a bit of a game of catch-up, I think, with modern comic books because, I'd just gotten back into the hobby about 3 or 4 years ago. But before that, it was all the way back in like late 1999, I think, when the last time I was collecting comic books. So there's that huge chunk of time where I was out of the hobby, and it kind of makes sense that maybe I would overlook some modern comic books or just flat out not even know about them because I was out of the hobby. But, luckily I've been learning so much in the last 3 to 4 years, and I think one of the best things that I've loved about getting back into the hobby and everything is learning about a lot of those modern comics that I missed out on during that era. It's just really taken me by surprise how much I've gotten into modern comics. But, we do talk, there's certainly like major modern comics that we've covered on the channel quite a bit. But for this list, I want to talk about 6 modern CGC 9.8 recommendations that I've overlooked up until now. So, yeah, consider this officially, these are not overlooked by me now, these modern comic books. And yeah, a lot of these were just sort of introduced to me, just in the past couple months here by people on the team. And again, I'm just learning so much. And again, it's been one of the best things about getting back into the hobby, learning about all these modern comic books that I missed out on. But let's get into the full list of 6, because yeah, each of these key issues, just such a great case can be made for each of them that they're really very collectible, great CGC 9.8s to consider. So first book here is a Spider-Gwen number 24. So this is when Spider-Gwen or Gwen Stacy becomes Gwenom. And Gwenom, it just kind of rolls off the tongue so good. I think it just sounds really cool, Gwenom. So Spider-Gwen number 24 is the first appearance of Gwenom. And I want to talk about a variant that I really like, but we'll just look on the census for the first print with the cool black cover, kind of a black Gwenom cover. Pretty cool first print cover. There's 279 CGC 9.8s on the census in the blue label, so 1 in 279 collector item for Spider-Gwen number 24. The 9.8 ratio is 80.6%, so of all graded copies, 80.6% of them are 9.8s. So a large majority of them are 9.8s, and this is kind of typical for a modern book. That's why a lot of times we talk about some rare moderns, because those really stick out, because most moderns look like this, about 80% of them CGC 9.8s. So Spider-Gwen 24, that black cover is really cool, and so prices for Spider-Gwen 24, just saw one recently completed in a listing. It was it was $170. It was like $170.50 or something like that in an auction. But in the completed listings, I'm seeing some go for like about a month ago go for about $150. So I think kind of $150 to $175 is a fair price for first appearance of Gwenom. When Gwen Stacy becomes Venom or Gwenom. That's certainly it's gaining quite a bid for a book that's not particularly rare in the 9.8. So it is pretty popular. A lot of modern books first appearances are kind of around $100, like maybe $90 to $100. So this one a little more expensive than your typical modern first appearance, but it might be worth going after a variant in this one because I really love the J. Scott Campbell. It's the Edition C variant where it's basically Gwenom on the cover, and it's really cool, like how J. Scott Campbell draws Gwenom. It looks really cool. There's a ton of these in the Signature series as well in the 9.8, but I did see the variant Edition C, J. Scott Campbell Edition C variant go in the blue label for $195 on eBay. And I think that's a pretty great price. I think that's going to look like a pretty great price, and considering that the first print is kind of like an auction just went for $170, I think $195 is a great price if you can get that. And that's my favorite. There's a couple different variants for this one, but the one with Gwenom on the cover is the J. Scott Campbell Edition C variant. So you may want to consider that one around $200. The first print kind of $150 to $175. But yeah, Spider-Gwen 24, first Gwenom, I think has potential. Spider-Verse number 2 is coming out. It would be really easy for them to, maybe throw a symbiote in there, and who knows, maybe Spider-Gwen gets the Venom symbiote. So maybe one to consider. Spider-Gwen number 24. So the next one is Justice League number 31. Yeah, this is the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz. who is the kind of lady Green Lantern. She is the first lady to get the Green Lantern ring, I believe. So Justice League number 31. This is, you may be more familiar with Green Lantern number 20, which is the first cameo of Jessica Cruz, and that seems to be, it's a lot more, there's a lot more on the census in that one, and it's kind of a little more popular, it seems, but this one is my kind of pick out of it, because for Justice League 31, you get the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz. There's 40 CGC 9.8s out there in the blue label, so not a lot of 9.8s for this one. Only 40 out there, a 1 of 40 collector item. Whereas like Green Lantern 20, I'm not sure exactly the number, but I think it's like 200 to 300 of those, maybe even more on the census for that one, and that's the first cameo of Jessica Cruz. So I'd much rather prefer this one with a 1 of 40 collector item, which to me is great. 72.7% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 72.7% of them are 9.8s. So not particularly rare, but nothing to kind of write home about there. So looking at completed listings and prices for Justice League number 31, seeing them sell all the way up to 200, but most of them are like $179.99. The completed listings on eBay for Justice League number 31, and I think it is kind of worth the price over Green Lantern 20, which I think is maybe like $80 to $90 in the CGC 9.8. So that one's definitely the affordable one, but the lesser rare one, there's a lot more of those in the CGC 9.8. I kind of like this one. Batman's on the cover of this one too, so I just kind of like that Batman's on the cover. But and then that 1 of 40 collector item is another reason why I would choose this one. Yeah, Justice League number 31, worth it to pay that sort of $179.99, I think, over a sort of Green Lantern 20, which isn't really rare at all, and it's a cool one though. But I like them both. But if I had to choose, I would go a little more rare and pay up for Justice League 31 and get that 1 of 40 collector item for first full Jessica Cruz. And yeah, Jessica Cruz has potential. I mean, they already had the Green Lantern movie a long time ago with like Ryan Reynolds was a Green Lantern. Now I think that's one of the most underrated superhero movies. Personally, I have that on like DVD and I watch it like regularly. That's one of my kind of favorite underrated superhero movies, the Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, they could easily just come out with a Lady Green Lantern movie, and I think that could easily catch on. Yeah. So next comic book here is a Teen Titans number 20. Yeah, this is the first appearance of Crush, who's apparently like the stepdaughter of Lobo. She kind of looks like Lobo, but this is one that I've just found out here in the last week or so. And talking on the team, learning so much from the team about modern comic books, talking to the team. So Teen Titans number 12, the first appearance of Crush. We'll look at the Jimenez variant, because I think for this one too, it might be worth it to pay up a little more for like the the more rare variant. And this one kind of has a cool simple cover too, with kind of Crush directly on the cover. But there's in the Jimenez variant, there's 221 CGC 9.8s out there, and a 74.2% is the CGC 9.8 ratio. So of all graded copies, 74.2% are 9.8s. Yeah, not kind of a typical sort of a modern ratio, not too rare or anything. So the Jimenez variant, I did see in an auction just in the past few days, and it went for $152. And I do think this is the best cover out of them. There's a couple other covers where she's on the cover as well, and they are pretty cool covers actually. So there's a couple other variants that are sort of the first print variants that are going for like $50 to $60 in the CGC 9.8. So that's an affordable alternative, but I think for this one, it's going to be another one where, hey, it might be just worth it to pay up for this, kind of the rare variant. And if this ever takes off, this will be the one that will be the most expensive, that would lead sort of the pack with the first appearance of Crush, this Jimenez variant. I really just like the cover. I mentioned on the kind of the pricing video yesterday when I first talked about this book, that I just sort of am attracted to like the look of this character. She's kind of like a little punk rock, Lobo stepdaughter looking chick, which I think she just looks really cool, and I just was initially really attracted to her. So yeah, first Crush is, I think, one to consider, and it's definitely like you're getting in early for sure. Like I think only people that are really into the Teen Titans storyline are really buying this because they really like Crush. So it's definitely, you're kind of in before, you know, people are just buying this one because it's a first appearance, like just mindlessly buying. Like, I don't think anyone's doing that on this one yet. Teen Titans number 20. Yeah, one to consider. First appearance of Crush. And that Jimenez variant. Hopefully you get it for around $150. So the next book is a little more of an obvious pick. You know, it's a popular one. It's Thor, God of Thunder, number 2. So this is the first appearance of Gorr the God Butcher. And yeah, it's also the first appearance of the Necrosword, which apparently Null made a sword. I have not read these comic books, so I'm not going to speak too much about the story. But Thor, God of Thunder 2 is a huge, like, very collected modern book that is definitely gaining a bid too. Like, it's, you know, pretty expensive for a modern book, but still maybe, you know, somewhat under the radar if you're not right on top of modern books. There's 184 CGC 9.8s on the census in the blue label, so a 1 of 184, not too bad. 72.4% is the CGC 9.8 ratio, so kind of a typical modern 9.8 ratio, nothing to kind of write home about. So, looking at an auction just right before we got on camera, it just went for like $201. It was just right over $200 for this book. I saw them go for sort of the 179 area as well. I think I remember seeing some too. So that's probably going to be the range, sort of 175 just to over 200. I think is a fair value for this book. And yeah, you know what, with these moderns, like, you know, Gorr the God Butcher, I do not know too much about personally, but I know Donny Cates did the story in the sort of run of Thor, and Donny Cates certainly has his fans, and there's, you know, a sort of a Null tie-in with this book as well. But yeah, a lot of sort of reasons to, you know, I don't want to say speculate, because I do think this is just a really cool book with some great first appearances that you can enjoy, but I think the potential's there that, yeah, this, you know, if, you know, that Gorr the God Butcher could certainly be in a lot more pop culture things, and I think the comic book community has really taken to this book already. Like, it's one too where, like, most of them, I don't even think on the CGC census they have like first appearance of Gorr the God Butcher yet. So it's one of those where it's so early that CGC hasn't even really updated the label yet, unless they have, you know, there's still a lot of graded copies where it doesn't say anything on the label. But yeah, one to consider though: Thor, God of Thunder, number 2, first Gorr the God Butcher, and the Necrosword. So next one, really in that similar kind of vein as Thor, God of Thunder, number 2. It's Thanos, number 13. Yeah, this is one we did on our pricing video too yesterday, I believe. First appearance of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Yeah, Thanos, number 13. Pretty cool Thanos first print cover. Second print's a pretty cool looking cover too, and that one's going for quite cheap. That might be kind of worth looking into as well. But the first print still, I think, you know, if you're really into this book, you definitely don't want to overlook the first print. Because, yeah, so for this book, there's 530 CGC 9.8s in the blue label. So this is the most popular one on the list with the most 9.8s, 530 CGC 9.8s. But when you look at the 9.8 ratio, so, you know, to be accurate about these things, you need kind of a numerator and a denominator. So, you know, you take the total number of 9.8s and then you divide it by the total graded copies of this book, and 46.4% is the CGC 9.8 ratio you get, and that's the best way to be accurate about the rarity for 9.8s. So of all graded copies, 46.4% of them are CGC 9.8s, which is pretty rare looking considering the last, you know, what was it, 4 books are all 70 to 80% CGC 9.8 ratios. So even though this has 539.8s, it's one of the more rarer ones on the list with the 46.4%. Yeah, because to be accurate about these things, you need the numerator and the denominator kind of when you're doing these kind of simple statistics. So a pretty rare book in the CGC 9.8 for a modern book, which was cool. So we'll get into the price, but before that, there's one Thanos number 15, so 2 issues after this, is when it's revealed that the Cosmic Ghost Rider is Frank Castle, like who's the Punisher. So I think I just wanted to mention that. I think that's kind of maybe an underfollowed key that you can get for like $100 or something like that in the CGC 9.8 that you maybe could heat up just because I think Thanos number 13 is a really popular one, and that could be kind of the secondary affordable one that could also heat up too. Yeah, Thanos number 15, and like Cosmic Ghost Rider's kind of on the cover too, so it's yeah, Thanos number 15 I think is one to consider, kind of a more affordable alternative. But Thanos 13 prices. On our pricing video yesterday, yeah, we saw one that sold for $270 on eBay. And I think if you're super patient and lucky, you may get this at $250, maybe a little bit below $250. But yeah, I've been, pretty surprised, in the last few months here, me not knowing too much about this book, being surprised by some of the prices I've saw. Like, wow, that's over $250 for a modern. But, you know what? That 46.4% CGC 9.8 ratio is pretty rare for a modern. So, yeah, I'm actually starting to understand why, this one's, 100 or $200 more than most modern keys. Because, yeah, it's just seems to be a little bit more rare in the 9.8. And, yeah, first Cosmic Ghost Rider, like, that's a hero. And, first appearance of heroes, I do kind of prefer over villains, although I'm a huge villain guy, but I think value-wise, like, the heroes maybe have a little more potential. So Thanos number 13 is one I think I've overlooked, but now, you're looking on the census, doing a little research, it's all kind of making more sense. And yeah, I think, this is one I could possibly think of purchasing, certainly. Hopefully for a fair price. Yeah, maybe closer to $250, with one going for $270 yesterday. We did on our pricing video yesterday, just in the last week here. Yeah, so Thanos number 13, one to consider. Alright, last book on the list here for modern CGC 9.8s I've overlooked up until now. So consider them not overlooked anymore. It's Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel, number 1. So, yeah, this is a book that I never really knew about until just the last week here, with a couple people on the team letting me know. Yeah, just the team is educating me so much on modern comic books. I absolutely love it. So, Adam, Legend of the Blue Marvel, number 1. It's the first appearance of Blue Marvel, and there's 106 CGC 9.8s in the blue label on the census. And both of the people that have mentioned this book to me have mentioned it's like a really low print run. And, I'm not on top of all these rumors at all, but it does seem like there are some rumors percolating for Blue Marvel, like, oh, he could be in the MCU, is basically what a lot of the people on the team were telling me. And so maybe there's some rumors out there, but with 106 CGC 9.8s out there and people mentioning it was a low print book, yeah, the prices are actually pretty expensive for this book. An interesting book, for sure. The 9.8 ratio, 37.2%. So of all graded copies, 37.2% of them are CGC 9.8s. And for a modern book, that is quite rare. That's a nice rarity. That's the most rare on this whole list. So of all graded copies, 37.2% of them are CGC 9.8s. So that's pretty rare for a modern book. And like Ultimate Fallout 4, Teen Titans 12, those are a little more rare at 32%. Even that Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 that I always recommend, that's 23% or something like that. Like, that is just such an anomaly in the modern age, that book, at how rare it is in the 9.8. But this one, pretty rare. With that low print, you're getting really high prices. So I saw one sell about a month ago for $289 on eBay. And I saw one just sell in the last little bit here for $550. So, yeah, this is one that people are paying up for. Must be a pretty good story. Must have a pretty decent cult following. But with only 106 out there in the CGC 9.8, with a pretty low CGC 9.8 ratio for a modern book, I can see why, yep, people are paying up for it. Because, yeah, this is a type of book that, it's a tough one because it's already quite expensive. But with only 106 out there and it being pretty rare in the 9.8, if Blue Marvel were to come on an MCU type thing, I think this thing would explode to over $1,000. Like, given the rarity, given there's only 106 out there. But if that doesn't happen, I think this one, I don't think you're going to see it just start exploding to over 550 on the back of nothing. Because, yeah, 37.2% is pretty rare. But it's not class-leading rarity. It's not as rare as Ultimate Fallout 4. It's not as rare as Teen Titans number 12. It's not as rare as Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 from 2008, the first new Teen Guardians of the Galaxy. So, it still has those books to compare to, and when you actually compare to them, like, I don't see there being too much price appreciation in this one from here, unless, the Blue Marvel comes out in an MCU movie, or gets a Disney Plus show or something like that, then it would do well, but it's already really expensive. But an interesting book, though. Yeah, this is the newest one to me, to sort of my mind, is this Adam, Legends of the Blue Marvel #1. But maybe one to consider. I mean, if you're, a big fan and you want this book, or maybe you're thinking about kind of speculating on it, possibly, I think try to get it closer to $275, or $475. One going for $550 just in the last week here. So I think $475 is, a more prudent price because, yeah, I just think if there's not a big pop culture thing for this, like, I don't see this sailing over $500 at all in any way because, yeah, Blue Marvel, I don't know who he is, never heard of him. I don't think he's an iconic, hero, but, that doesn't mean he could be in the future. Like, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't want to, say this is like a dead book or anything, but I think it's so expensive now that you almost have to have Blue Marvel come out in the MCU or something for it to, like, continue to appreciate in price. So maybe there's some other investments out there that you may want to consider. Okay, let's get into some top picks, because it was a full list of 6 there. I'll have them a list in the description below if you just want to kind of check them out in a quick list. But my top 3 picks here. First top pick is Thanos #13. I think Thanos #13, you get the first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider, and mix in a pretty decent rarity for a modern book. I think it's just probably the best book on this list, as, when you mix in that first appearance with the rarity, hopefully you get it closer to $250. Yeah, I think Thanos 13, Cosmic Ghost Rider does, have more potential, and it's, and it's still kind of somewhat affordable, especially when you think about that Legends of the Blue Marvel book kind of thing. So Thanos #13, my first pick. Second pick is Spider-Gwen, #24. Yeah, first Gwenom. I just think that's a really cool first appearance. It's that variant cover, I think, is really, I'm more attracted to that one. I think that $195 for a blue label of the J. Scott Campbell Gwenom variant, I think, is a great price if you can buy that. I would probably, if like that kind of popped up in Canada for cheap shipping at that price, I would probably insta-buy it because, I think Spider-Gwen 24, first Gwenom, is one to speculate on, and it's, it's a popular Marvel book, it's a popular Marvel character, and Spider-Gwen's gonna be out in Spider-Verse 2, so maybe a Venom, Gwenom thing happens in the Spider-Verse 2, but even if it doesn't, there's always so much potential with these, like, huge Marvel, sort of brands, and, with Venom and Spider-Gwen, I just think it's super cool, so even if it doesn't come out in a movie, it's just a book you get great pride of ownership from, I think. Yeah, so Spider-Gwen #24, my second top pick. Third top pick is going to be that Teen Titans #12, First Crush. Yeah, one I've just been introduced to in the last couple of weeks here, and like I said, I'm just kind of, I think, attracted to the character. Like, she looks like a little punk girl, and I was in punk rock bands when I was young too, so I think I kind of relate to her that way. And it's one of those books where a great first appearance, great cover. I think I'd get a lot of pride of ownership out of it. And it's still pretty cheap. Like, especially the first prints. Like, the you can get I think I'm seeing some completed listings for, like, maybe even under $50 for the first print, I think it was. And then there's another variant, I think, which is like $60 to $70. And then there's that Jimenez variant, which is kind of the top of the barrel, that went for $152. That I kind of like the most, to be honest. So, Teen Titans 12, though, First Crush, it just seems to be one I'm attracted to for some reason, so that'll be my third top pick. Okay, concluding up here with a good list of 6 modern CGC 9.8s. Like I said at the beginning, I think it's been really fun for me to, it completely caught me off guard, because I didn't really expect to get into modern books at all. Like, I was like, 80s and 90s, McFarlane, Spider-Man, Batman, Spawn, like, nostalgia, like, that's all I was thinking about when I got back into the hobby about 3-4 years ago. But I've had so much fun learning about a lot of these modern keys that I missed out on, and a lot of them are great. And so I think we got a good list of 6 here to for you to consider, some good recommendations. And just one thing too, I'll mention really quick with the CGC 9.8 ratios of this whole list. I did kind of allude to there, like Teen Titans #12, Ultimate Fallout #4, and Guardians of the Galaxy #1. They're all 3 of those books are more rare than every book on this list. Even that $550, Legends of the Blue Marvel book, isn't as rare as those 3 books. So we've covered a lot of those books on the channel, so you don't want to forget about those books is what I'm saying, because they're extremely rare. I've mentioned them on the channel for good reason, because I've noticed that the 9.8 ratios are lower than almost every book in the modern age. So yeah, don't forget about Teen Titans number 12, first full appearance of the Batman Who Laughs. Ultimate Fallout 4, which is so hot right now, you probably want to be patient on that, but still look to probably grab that one. And Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 from 2008. Yeah, the first kind of origin and first full appearance of the new team, Guardians of the Galaxy, is a really rare modern CGC 9.8. Yeah, so don't forget about those 3. But 6 other recommendations too in this list that I think are really great as well. So if you haven't already, I would invite you to join the team and subscribe to Team CGC 9.8. Hit the bell to get all the latest notifications. Add me on Instagram and Twitter too as well. I have all the links in the description below for all that. But thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I think I was really happy with how this modern list kind of came together. I was kind of happy to, or excited to make a video to kind of share it with everyone, because some new ideas on the list here. So thank you very much for watching. Message me on Instagram if you have any questions about anything. And I'll see you on the next one.